Hello, Amber here. Welcome to my podcast, Design Tales. I'm a knitting designer. I design knitting patterns for knitters, and in this podcast I share new releases. I talk about the process behind the design, the inspiration, the yarn, and tips, anything that might be helpful. Sometimes I'll share styling tips, and I plan in the future to also revisit some of my older designs and talk about the process behind those as well. So let me know in the comments if you have any designs you'd like me to chat about, or any questions you'd maybe like me to answer in future episodes. I'm back again today in my upstairs area, surrounded by my plants. It's an overcast day, however, the sun is peeping in and out of those clouds, so you might get some little glare moments. Hopefully it works well because the lighting is quite good up here. Today's episode is all about a new design called the Speckles Shawl, and I'm wearing it here. It's a cute little snack of a project, and when I say snack, it's quite food related. The inspiration behind this shawl is fairy bread. I'm not sure if you'll have heard of fairy bread. In Australia and New Zealand, it's a popular children's party food, and it's quite a simple thing. It has to be soft, fresh white bread, sliced, buttered, and then sprinkled with what we call hundreds and thousands and what others might call sprinkles, the little round rainbow sugar balls. And that's fairy bread. In Australia, then we cut them up into triangles and pile a big plate of them, and that's part of the party food for a children's party. I know in some European countries they do something similar with chocolate sprinkles, which is also delicious and can see variations at parties in Australia, but fairy bread refers to that. And when I started out with this design, I was originally calling it fairy bread, partly because of the triangular shape and also because of the idea of the sprinkles. When I was knitting it, I didn't use rainbow yarn for the sprinkles, and I think if I had, I might have called it fairy bread, but I found with the single colour little bubbles that sprinkles seemed to be a better name for it. So it is the Speckles Shawl. And cutely though, one of the colours, I'm using some leftover, I just had a little bit of yarn left over from another project for the neon pops, the spots, and that is a La Bien Aimee Fluoro Marguerite, I think it's called. It's such a great colour. And then the other colour, I'll come up a bit closer so hopefully you can see it. See the little flashes of colour. That is called Hundreds and Thousands, that colourway, and it's by the Wandering Flock Yarn Company, and I thought it was perfectly apt for the fairy bread shawl with its hundreds and thousands, even though it's now the Speckles shawl. So that's pretty cute. The hundreds and thousands yarn, as you can see, is quite a kind of neutral result. I think it's yeah, I love the effect of this as a background colour. It's quite subtle, and then just those little pops of neon in there make it really fun. And I guess May is my birthday month, so for me this felt like a fun birthday month project and design to make. So yeah, it's a party shawl. I've had a lot of fun watching our test knitters knit up this project in a range of different yarns, and the results are so varied. It's just wonderful. When I was knitting it, I was thinking it would be fantastic to use a different colour for each bobble section. I'll explain how that works a bit more later. And some knitters have done that in the test knit and just made it a rainbow shawl. Some have used a variegated yarn for the bobbles, and so each bobble is quite different and varied. And then other knitters have used a quite variegated colour for the main colour, and then a solid for the bobbles, which has another effect again. And it's a really lovely way to use a variegated skein of yarn. If you've got that odd skein in your stash you're not quite sure what to do with, I recommend giving Sprinkles a go. And then we have some others that are very neutral, like sort of greys or muted colorways with the pops, and that's a really excellent effect as well. And another possibility I've been thinking about is like thinking about fly agaric mushrooms, like a red with white polka dots. I think that would look fantastic as well. There's so many possibilities, and as I said, it's perfect for a stash dive. You just use, I mean, even if you just had tiny little amounts of scrap yarn, you could make the bubbles with those, and then have a main colour. You could use mini skeins for the main colour as well and fade those together. And the pattern has a single size, but it's really easy to adapt to make smaller or larger. If you just wanted a little kerchief size, you could make it smaller. You just work fewer increases until you get to the size that you want. Or if you wanted a really big one and to maximize all of your yarn, if you had 2 skeins, or you wanted to make sure you used every scrap of that skein of main colour, you just increase until you're halfway through your yarn and then start decreasing. So you can make the most of your yarn with this as well. I'll just give a little show of the shape. So it's quite the standard symmetrical triangular shape, starting at one end and working across to the center. At that point you can either continue or decrease, start decreasing to the other end. And there's a little I-cord edge worked in at the same time for a nice neat finish. The bubbles are a simple bubble. I think the hardest part is that you will end up with ends on each end, lots of ends, which is why I think it's fun to change colours. Since you'll be weaving in those ends anyway, you can easily have rows of different colour bubbles. So you could do rainbow rows, or even just have, like I have, a single colour of bubbles all the way, and then perhaps one strip of bubbles a completely different colour, just for like a pop row of bubbles. I think that would be good. I created a tutorial for making the bubbles, and it's linked to the pattern, and they're pretty easy. It's a single row bubble, so you'll work for that single row both colours, knitting with the main colour, get to the bubble, work the bubble, knit with the main colour again, and so you'll have little floats between each bubble of the bubble colour, and then weave in at the end. So yeah, they're pretty easy little bubbles to make, and they're so cute. So my inspiration behind this design kind of refers back to an earlier video where I talked about the Bliss Bloss shawl, which is the Intarsia shawl with flowers, big flowers. And I talked then about thinking about a dot shawl, and that evolved into the flowers with the large dots in the center of each flower. And that was the evolution of that shawl. I still had polka dot spots on my mind, and so this is the evolution of that concept. And I've probably been thinking about it for maybe a year, you know, thinking, oh, a dot shawl. So it sometimes takes a while for things to process. And in that time, I explored quite a few different techniques. I looked at mosaic knitting, intarsia, colour work, like stranded colour work, and just couldn't quite settle on the right technique to create a spotty shawl. And then bubbles came to mind just a couple of months ago, and it was like, aha, that's it. So I did some swatching, checked out a few different bubble techniques, and then decided I wanted to keep it to a single row little bubble, and worked out a way that I wanted to make the bubbles for this shawl. And as I said at the start, I was thinking about fairy bread, and so very much in my mind I was thinking birthday shawl, something for me, something for my birthday. And here we are. I don't really have a lot else to say about this project, so I think it's going to be quite a short episode. But yeah, it's an overview, a little story about how the design came about, and I guess here's a couple of ways that you could be wearing this. Around the neck, tie it. As I said, you could make a smaller version with these cute little triangles. There's always the option of wearing it on your head as a scarf. I think that's pretty cute, look, and cozy. And the classic fold it in half, thread the ends through. So yeah, it's a handy little accessory to have in your wardrobe and knits up fast. I think it's a great little gift knit. So many cute things about the Speckles shawl. It's knit with fingering weight yarn. You could vary that and it would work quite readily. Just use needles that work with the yarn that you're using. It would look great, I think, with a lace weight or a light fingering or a sport weight or even up to a DK. I haven't swatched with heavier yarn than that, but I think it would also translate quite well to heavier yarns. Something for me to give a go in the future. You'll be able to find the pattern link, the tutorial, and everything in the comments below. And I suggest you go and check out the testers' finished objects as well, either with the hashtag Speckles shawl or look in the Ravelry project pages. I'll link to that as well because there's some really cute, inspiring versions there. They've done a fantastic job. And it sparks a lot of joy for me seeing those beautiful Speckles shawls. And as I mentioned earlier, I also have an FO to share with you. So I might cleanse the palette of my Speckles shawl, tasty snack, and share the Cosmos Blossom kerchief. This is knit by special request of my delightful niece. She asked for this as part of her birthday present, and we talked about colours. I already had this beautiful kind of electric purple in my stash from a project. Actually, I knit one of these with it as well, and I suppose that's what inspired her. I showed her the my little sample knit in that yarn, which is also from the Wandering Flock. And yeah, so she loved that, and then talked about a light blue, which I didn't have in my stash, but I talked to Tarina of Love and Speckles. She is often quite obliging when it comes to custom colours, and I talked about the project and what I wanted, and she developed this gorgeous blue for me, which I'm not sure of the name off the top of my head. She did create a name for it. Anyway, it's the perfect shade, and I think my niece will be delighted. So I'll be packing that up and sending it off to her. And yeah, the pattern is the Cosmos Blossom shawl, which I published a couple of years ago, and then last year I updated with this little kerchief option, and it's a really cute little addition to the pattern. So it's worked as a square and 2 triangles, and then the shawl features more squares and triangles to make the triangular shape. And there's also a wrap, which I talked about in the first episode of Design Tales, the Cosmos Blossom wrap, and there's also a throw. So there's a few variations using the same square flower block, the Cosmos Blossom flower block. And again, this is a really cute little, I think she might be wearing it, wanting to wear it as a bit of a kerchief headscarf. And as just a little neckerchief. And again, you could also wear it more with the point at the back and tie it at the front. So there's a few ways that you can wear your Cosmos Blossom kerchief. Again, this is fingering weight yarn. The pattern does include DK weight option as well, so you can make a big cozy shawl or just a slightly bigger, thicker kerchief with that pattern, which I'll also link below. And that's it from me today. A little quick episode talking about the Sprinkles shawl, which is available now, and a fun palette cleanser snack of a project that I hope you enjoy as much as I did, and our testers. Thanks for watching. Birthday Sprinkles. Thanks for watching.